From the Mumbai studios of Republic TV, it's time for the debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, the visuals of Arnab Goswami while he was being taken to Taloja jail with his hands folded scarred the collective conscience of India for the longest time. And the words that he said, "My life is in threat, help me, it's the courts that will help me."
Well, in the High Court today we have no interim relief. Arnab has not been granted bail, which means that he will spend a sixth night in jail. Tonight, he continues to remain at the Taloja jail just outside Mumbai.
In fact, when he said, my life is in danger, there were multiple citizens across the country who petitioned the courts, who petitioned the president, and who took their fight to them seeking his security. This is an assault on every citizen's rights. If this isn't challenged, we don't know what else will. Here's what happened through the day.
The Bombay High Court has refused interim relief. I think now to Arnab, this is in connection with the abetment to suicide case. The bench had assembled. The interim application stands rejected. They have said that they can approach the Sessions Court and it's the Sessions Court that will decide the application in the requested time.
The bench has said there is no case made out for exercising extraordinary jurisdiction by the High Court. Alternate remedy of regular bail is available, and that the bench says it is made clear that alternate remedy is available to the petitioners, and that's an option, that's a remedy that we can exhaust now. Adding that the accused can approach the Sessions Court and the concerned court will decide the application in the time limit specified, which is 4 days.
Like in this case also, what I personally feel is that we got a sigh of relief because we've got 4 days time for the Sessions Court to decide on the matter. So this is a good win for you, because normally the writs are disposed of without any favorable orders. At least there is a favorable order of 4 days, to be decided by the Sessions Court.
Let them not think that this is a setback for Republic or for Arnab Goswami or for the matters for the other petitioners. No, it is not. There are simple procedures of law which are involved here, and the High Court, while trying to listen to this matter, has looked into this matter that at the moment this interim relief could not be granted to them. What are the reasons? The High Court has rationally understood that there are other remedies available.
Yeah, Rhythm, that's exactly what I was about to say. Now that the inherent powers of the Bombay High Court under 226, that is, it invokes automatically 482 CRPC also. A 439 CRPC is something which the court is telling you to go under to go to the regular Sessions Court. But now that those have been exhausted before the High Court, the Supreme Court can treat Gaurav Bhatia's letter and convert it into a petition and take a suo motu cognizance of it and do appropriate justice to the case, given the facts and circumstances in this case.
This is one of the most bizarre situations where you have a person in custody in a case which was a closed case, which was reopened without any basis, but be that as it may, it was sought to be reopened. Arnab arrested despite the fact no summons issued to him. It is agreed that the investigation itself is illegal. It is tainted with illegality. There was no case for arrest. Despite that, he was sent to judicial custody.
This arrest was totally unjustified, and the manner in which the arrest was conducted, I would say it was reprehensible, illegal, and the less said the better about the manner in which they took their ATS with automatic weapons, with a posse of 24 plus police personnel. I am given to understand more than 30 police personnel.
Rajiv Pandey, spokesperson of the BJP, Rahul Narvekar, MLA and lawyer, will be joining us in a few minutes from now. Amitabh Sinha, senior lawyer of Supreme Court, Ishkaran Bhandari, Rami Desai, who's a writer and political analyst, Shefali Vaidya joining us live. She's a columnist and political analyst. Swapnil Kothari, Rajdeep Majumdar, who's an advocate, joining us live from Kolkata on the show this evening. Kapil Sankla, advocate, Supreme Court, and Priyanka Tibrewal, who's also an advocate, joining us live from Kolkata this evening. But I'd like to give the first word to Rhythm, because Rhythm is our executive editor of Legal Affairs, and she's been following the the case very, very closely. After what happened, a lot of people asking Rhythm, a lot of people, in fact, even in the first debate, Rhythm, a few senior advocates from the Supreme Court as well. There's a lot of anguish. People want to know what is happening legally. What does today's verdict mean, and where do we stand? For the benefit of our viewers, a lot of people are asking us that question, Rhythm.
Absolutely. Today, good evening, viewers. Today, what the High Court has done is they have rejected interim bail to Arnab. And as they have done this, we continue to say we continue our fight. But remember, we continue repeating this through the day. It's the 6th night when Arnab Goswami is in jail. He's in jail with a closed case. It's a case in which he's not even been convicted. There has been no summons that were issued to him, and it began on the 5th. I would request my director if he could just stop the echo. When this case began at that time, when the summons were issued first, he was dragged out, after which there was immense confusion as to what was happening.
Rhythm,
now, I would like to bring to
speak.
the attention of the viewers that a 56-page order...
Remove your earpiece and speak so that you don't get the echo. It's okay, you can just remove it and speak for a few minutes. Yeah, that's fine.
There's
yes, go ahead.
There's a 56-page order that has now come out. A 56-page order, Niranjan, that very clearly shows that there has been some going into the merits of the case by the High Court. However, unfortunately, despite the fact that the High Court has gone into the orders, the High Court does not believe this is a fit case for interim bail. Now, the larger question that we have to see is whether all our legal rights have been exercised and what we shall be doing in the future, which is exercising our legal rights. Niranjan, this comes on a day when several people have moved the Chief Justice of India asking for suo motu cognizance to be taken of the Maharashtra government's malified actions as well as the Mumbai police's malified actions, because this is not something that only we, you, me, Sagarika at Republic TV are seeing, but everyone can see, whether it's the TRP case, whether it's this case, whether it's any other case, what sort of action is being taken. All these actions taken together show the witch hunt. And that's also a question that we would like to ask our panelists. I don't know whether that can be heard properly, but Rahul Narvekar, if you can hear me, you were one person who also tried
to go and meet Arnab.
Rhythm is not through yet.
Maybe you can go to Ishkaran.
We started off our reading when we said that
he's not through yet. Maybe you can go to Ishkaran.
Ishkaran. All right. I'm sorry. There's a connection problem here. Ishkaran, since the very start, we've been seeing you've been very closely monitoring the case, supporting Arnab, and immediately talking about the pathos here. But Ishkaran, more than the pathos, people are roaring with Arnab, supporting him. We've seen what's been happening with him. We've seen how he was dragged to Taloja. India can see it very clearly. Anger is palpable. Coming to the High Court order, Ishkaran, it's a 56-page order. They go into the merits of the case. After listening to it for 3 days, after 2 days, giving an order on Monday, they clearly say, no, go back to the Sessions Court. But it's very clear, Ishkaran, this is not a fit case either for police custody or for bail. When 2018 the case is passed, 2019 a closure report is there, and suddenly in 2020 you rake up a closed case.
Rhythm, let me first answer legally and then I will speak on the other aspects you raised. If the Honorable High Court had heard a case, and let's be very clear, interim application or bail, if they heard it for 3 days, they should have given a decision that we deny bail because the arguments were very substantive, or they should have given bail because then you would have gone to Supreme Court, whatever it be. after you hear in depth by a honorable division bench of an High Court, we should have had as finality, at least at the stage where the courts of district court or the High Court are concerned. Sending it back to the High Court, if that was in the minds of the honorable judges, they are such senior judges, maybe in the first day after 15 minutes they should have said, we are not inclined to hear this matter further, please go to Sessions Court, or as Mr. Salve had very strenuously pressed, they should have denied the interim relief on the first day or second day itself, because it is about the liberty of a citizen. After hearing for 3 days and it going back to Sessions Court, obviously that's the discretion of the High Court, which has seen it fit to do so, and you have to follow the procedure and respect it. But I feel in this case something else could have been done. As Mr. Salve was arguing, even if it was a denial, the denial should have come rather than this happening and going back to the Sessions Court. Second part of this, which I want to say very clearly, is that yes, Arnab is spending nights and day jail on a case in which I personally believe he should not have even been arrested, leave alone spending one night in day. But the other aspect, that is the public of India, everybody in India and across the world. The state may put cases after cases on Arnab. The state may get Arnab to spend a night in jail also. But the state cannot take from Arnab the outpouring of love, the outpouring of support that is happening for Arnab across the globe. I can say it openly, not one journalist, if you do an assessment anywhere in the world, would have had 100th of the support or procession or the love Arnab is getting. And that is what Arnab has earned in his 24, 25 years of journalism, and that no state government, no state action, no police action can take from him. And one last line, believe you me, Arnab went inside as a journalist, as a very good journalist, editor-in-chief, blah, blah. But once he comes out, he would be an icon of courage, because he took on state government, sitting in that state, which nobody dares to do. That history will record is only Arnab Goswami and none else.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Ishkaran. I have Rahul Narvekar as well. He's been tracking the story very, very closely. He knows the intricate details of what's happening in Alibag, because he is in Alibag. Rahul, a lot of people asking what's going on, what's happening. You were also part of, you're abreast with what's happening in court. Why don't you tell our viewers your assessment of where things stand legally in this matter?
See, at the outset, the only court that has given a conclusive decision with regards to the merits of the matter is the Magistrate Court, while it was hearing the remand application filed by the police. See, in the remand application which was filed by the police, the court has made 3 clear observations which squarely settle this case to my mind. Number one, they have ruled that there seems to be no nexus between the suicide and the victim and the accused. So there is no nexus. They've recorded that. Number two, they have clearly said that the arrest itself is not very digestible, it's not legal, because there was no proper authority that was taken consent of prior to reopening this case. Number three, they have clearly recorded and denied police custody of the accused and said that there is nothing more or no substantial ground made out by the police to further investigate the accused in custody. So this squarely settles the merits of this case, and the only question that remained was, after giving judicial custody, bail was to be granted. Now this hearing happened at 11:30 in the night, and thereafter, assuming the police were required to file a say, as expected, the police were dragging their feet or to file a say in the application filed for bail, and the delaying tactics of the state went on. And rightly so, the legal panel of Mr. Arnab Goswami decided to approach the High Court in its writ jurisdiction, and they also asked for quashing of the FIR, which itself was illegal. And perhaps the court in its wisdom has given a decision which I respect. But having said that, I truly believe the reasons given by the court that it would not be a fit and proper case for the courts to interfere, because it would set a wrong precedent that bail should be given by the High Court when alternate efficacious remedies available with the lower courts. I feel this wasn't the first occasion when bail was going to be granted directly by the High Court. There have been cases in the past where the High Court has intervened and granted bail. So I think this was a fit case for the courts to intervene and grant interim relief. But I respect the order of the Honorable High Court. In their wisdom, they must have taken a decision. Though I feel otherwise. I feel they could have. That's my view. But
Rahul,
having said that, now the case lies before the.
Rahul, the way you've been feeling.
Now the bail application lies before. I just want to make one quick point. Now the bail application lies before the Sessions Court. Now let me remind you, how many matters are there in which the state of Maharashtra has filed a review petition against an order of the magistrate not granting police custody? I would like to remind you about the Jia Khan case. In the Jia Khan case, the accused was not granted police custody. Did the police go and review? Did the police not go and review only because the accused is a good friend of a top politician?
Well,
valid I want to know, why are they selectively going and review? What are the merits of going and review?
Rahul, the entire country has seen through this. The people of this country have raised these questions. Never before have we seen that while people have come out and said, yes, we have faith in the judiciary, but we respectfully disagree. And Rhythm is also here. She's been following the case very, very closely. I'd also like to get Swapnil Kothari, because he's been with us through and through. He's been telling us about his understanding of how the case is panning out. Swapnil, I'll read out one tweet by a very eminent lawyer, Mahesh Jethmalani, who's also following the case closely. He says, respectfully disagree with the Bombay High Court judgment both on rationale and result that requires a longer exposition elsewhere. But is the High Court so insensitive to freedom that it believes it requires 4 days to decide a simple bail matter in a case of abetting suicide? These are legal voices. Like Rahul also said, yes, I respect the courts, but this is my view. What do you have to say, Swapnil, when you actually go through, the very premise of the case? Many say this is nothing but an attempt to delay.
I've gone through the 56 pages of the entire order, Sagarika, and Rhythm and Niranjan, and I firmly believe if there was ever a fit case to grant bail, interim bail, in the interim application, this was one. The reason? Because it involves a person who belongs to the media. So there the case is distinguished from all the other people, because media is the fourth pillar of democracy. That is the way I would look at it, and I would urge the judges to also look at it in the future if a similar case was to come before them. That when you are who is a part of the media and who is there incarcerated, albeit in judicial custody, Article 14, Article 19 and Article 21 in fact allow you, Article 14 in fact allows you to distinguish between him or her and the rest of the people, because here it involves the freedom of press. Although the cases of abetment to suicide, but this person is stopped from conducting his business, which is again Article 19(1)(g) of the Constitution, which is to practice trade and profession. So this person obviously sitting in jail cannot do any of that, or sitting in judicial custody. 21 is again life and liberty, cannot be taken away without due procedure established by law. The arrest itself, as per the CJM's order, itself is prima facie illegal according to the CJM. There is no direct chain of nexus between the suicide and Arnab Goswami and the rest of the two accused probably. Then also at the same time, there is an observation that the police custody cannot be granted simply because there is no evidence to derive from Arnab, and it is not a fit case for police custody. And now the revision application of both the police and our bail application of Arnab Goswami is there before the Sessions Court. So what this clearly means is that because the arrest, as if it's prima facie illegal, and that it stems out of a closed case which has been reopened without following the due procedure of law, as per the CAJM's observation, the High Court should have gone into it and said that this is a judicial order which is challenged simply because the judicial order is stemming out of an action of the police or of the state, which itself is in question. So this is the perfect case, both under Article 226 as a constitutional court, and simply as the High Court also, to grant bail, because if the High Court cannot grant bail, then which other court in the state can do so? Because the High Court is the biggest court or the highest court in that particular state, which is the state of Maharashtra. So that is a very pertinent observation. I agree with this judgment in the first place because this was a quick case. Now, be that as it may,
Yes.
I'm glad that it's got a favorable order in the sense that you've got 4 days to finish off before the sessions court. So to that extent, I'm very happy. And of course, the judge has been keeping on telling his mind right from between, 2-3 days itself, like Friday, Saturday, that, why don't you go to the sessions court? But then, if a lawyer is a judge, then the judge is bound to hear. And, you want to press your argument, fair enough, I'm going to listen to you. But then at the end of the day, I will do exactly what I feel that according to the procedure is. And that is exactly what the judges have done today. We may or may not agree, which is our right.
Yeah.
But, they have done.
Yes.
They feel that this is
Kapil
not the proper
Sankla, the larger point is not about whether what they've done is right or wrong, but if this is what had to be done, there were marathon arguments that were there. It could have possibly happened earlier. It was reserved and there was a long time. It was a Diwali break. What Mr. Salve did say right at the start is case after, yes, exactly as our panelist is saying, Shefali Vaidya, I want to ask you a simple different question. They've seen that every case, there is a certain thing that's happening with us. Now the bigger, larger question here is the Maharashtra machinery. How it's working, how the wheels are churning, whether it's hashtags being made criminal, whether it is jailing social media activists, whether it's misleading the legal process to silence criticizers. It's not only us, it's every case, whether it's illegally demolishing houses when there is dissent that is being questioned. Shefali Vaidya, it's become systematic, it's become in different cases, and it's become almost never ending.
Yeah.
We have all seen how the state has acted in different cases. In case of actress, her office was illegally demolished. In case of Arnab, who's a journalist, and in case of common citizens who have been voicing their opinion on Twitter. And this has been done in such a way that multiple cases have been filed at multiple places, and each time the person has got some relief legally, that person has been arrested using some other case. So we have all seen that, and I remember what Anand Ranganathan said a few days ago on your channel, that if a state really decides to put you in jail, it can put you in jail, and that is what is happening. But what is happening right now is that Arnab has become larger than life, and that nobody can deny. And I congratulate all of you for holding the fort while Arnab has been in jail for 6 days. It's not been easy, but your team has been working extremely hard. And the sad part is, because of this entire thing, because Arnab being in jail and people not knowing what is happening to him, I have been getting messages from citizens all over the country asking what is happening with Arnab. Is Arnab safe? What is the police doing with him? Why is he not out? Is something that even I have been getting asked as a common citizen.
Yeah.
I am here today because I need to express solidarity. I need to speak for what it is right. And opening a closed case to punish somebody who doesn't agree with what you are saying, it's the worst misuse of power.
And after announcing it, Shefali, after announcing it in the assembly, okay, let's make it clear. After announcing on the floor, you know how it started on the floor of the assembly, what Harish Salve also argued in the High Court a few days back? It started by first talking about Arnab Goswami's style of journalism in the Maharashtra assembly.
That's right.
And then it went to Arnab Goswami, and they didn't like his style, and then they went to talk about the cases that he faces, and then they said, wait a minute, there is also a case, and they mentioned this case, the 2018 case that they've opened up, the case that was closed in 2019. They mentioned it on the floor of the assembly. And what a coincidence. And privilege notice was also raised around the same time. And let me make one small comparison and then go across to Kapil Sankla, and then Priyanka Tibrewal is also joining us. Let me tell you what this government has said, right? And how it conveniently twists the machinery. Okay. I'll tell you, ahead of the 1-year mark since RBI put PMC Bank under moratorium approaching, to Mumbai police, okay, listen to me very carefully. Mumbai police issued notices to PMC depositors whose fight we are fighting. We are fighting for PMC depositors. You know what they've done? They have asked them not to gather outside RBI citing COVID-19. Okay? Don't gather outside RBI citing COVID-19, okay, PMC depositors who we have been fighting for. Did you know, Taloja jail authorities wrote to the government and the police asking them not to bring any more inmates citing COVID-19. Look at this, right? RBI depositors being asked not to go outside RBI. PMC depositors, I beg your pardon, citing COVID-19, while Taloja jail writes and asks the administration not to send inmates. In the early morning, in a swoop down, you take Arnab to Taloja jail, which has asked the state not to bring any new inmates citing COVID-19. It's a small example, but it tells you the story. Kapil Sankla and then Priyanka Tibrewal can come in. Kapil.
You see, with all respect to very esteemed lawyers who are on your panel, I have another viewpoint which I want to share with you. What I want you to say is that before we even talk about what the Honorable High Court has done or not done, and let us not take it as a loss because they have not rejected our bail, they've just rejected our application for interim bail. But I think it is a victory in the sense that they have given earmarked 4 days directing the lower court to take a decision on the regular bail, which itself for me is quite a victory, albeit a small one at this moment. But I have another point to make, and I think it is a very important point. We have to remember that the entire litigation that is pending in High Court as well as in lower court now, and the arrest of Mr. Goswami is in terms of a matter which was already closed. And it was closed by a closure report filed in the lower court, where the lower court went through the entire evidence. And after going through the evidence, after taking cognizance of the evidence, which means applying its mind for the first time on the evidence, came to a conclusion that no case is made out and closed that case. Now that decision is unchallenged, it is unrebutted, it is unquestioned. It has attained finality of law, it has not been challenged in the higher court. Now what the Mumbai police does is it ignores that order. It revives a case which has been killed or dead or shut down by an order of a lower court and revives it and arrests Mr. Goswami.
After announcing in the floor of the assembly.
Poison tree will give poison fruit.
After announcing on the floor of the assembly.
Yes, absolutely. So every act that takes place after and ignoring the order of the lower court of closure is illegal in itself. So my submission is that the arrest is illegal, his incarceration is illegal, and therefore when an application or when the writ under habeas corpus was moved in the Honorable High Court for habeas corpus, the court should have taken cognizance of the fact that if the very FIR or the very action of the police is illegal, the arrest itself is illegal, and therefore an illegal arrest needs protection, and he is therefore a victim of misuse of the process of the prosecution of the police.
Very strong points being made by Kapil Sangla there. I want to bring in Rami here. Rami, we are trying to put things into context because, you know, as journalists, our first instinct is to weave a chain of events and chain of sequences. One thing comes to my mind. On the sting tape, we have a minister of the Maharashtra cabinet very casually talk about Arnab Goswami's suicide. After that, we saw what's been happening. We saw what happened on the 4th of November. We saw what happened yesterday, especially yesterday when Arnab, in fact, raised his voice and told his reporters that my life is under threat. Now, think about it. And then there is another member of the Mahavikas Aghadi who was stung, a Congress leader who's stung and who actually says that Republic to band hoga hi. There is a squad that has been handpicked to ensure Republic is shut down. Then there is a minister who very casually talks about what if Arnab commits suicide. And then Arnab is physically assaulted. Arnab then tells the people of this country through his reporters when he's being dragged away, lugged into a police van like that, when he holds on to that grill and he screams, my life is in danger. I was assaulted. I was assaulted for what? Because I sought legal access. Why? Because I'm a citizen of this country. And these are the rights I have. When we put all of this into context, Rami, what comes to your mind?
Well, good evening, first of all. to say the least, I think the entire nation is today really disheartened. For 5 days, we've all been waking up with the hope to see Arnab back in his studio. Unfortunately, that has not happened. And let me say this, that the growing frustration is evident. The anger is actually palpable in the country, as well as genuine concern for Arnab's safety. You know, we've all seen common people have come out on the roads and representations have been made to the president, to NHRC. There's a huge traction, I believe, on your social media.
Yeah.
But clearly we are dealing with powers that simply don't care. They don't care for democratic institutions, for processes, for its people, or even for basic optics. But please allow me to make 2 points before I come to what you asked me. One is, I absolutely agree with Mr. Sankla, because this point, I'm not a lawyer, and this point struck me that if, the case has been closed by the court and it cannot be reversed suo motu by the police, the fact that they have reversed the decision of the court should be in itself a contempt of the order. So how is that on the foundation of an illegal arrest should Arnab be in custody? And I ask this very humbly, because as a common person, this has struck me. My second point is that it has been appalling to watch this government behave the way they've behaved, and it's very clear to all of us that this is a process of, this is their process of being vindictive, this is vengeance. Till date, the police is struggling to present evidence against the channel or against Arnab. But the motive, of course, seems to be to destroy the channel's credibility. On one hand, you have Arnab in one location. On the other hand, you have journalists like yourself being called time and again for interrogation. It's amply clear that they are ensuring that the functioning of the channel is hampered and that great journalists like yourselves and your spirit is completely exhausted. And the state government, apart from the technicalities, I believe has a moral responsibility. I don't care what they're doing, but there is a moral responsibility that comes with being in power towards not just the people, but to the country and the principles that are enshrined in our constitution.
Rami.
But, they've turned a blind eye. Just 1 second. They've turned a blind eye. And I feel that not only in Maharashtra, but the entire country is going to be affected by this. Because, what is the precedent that they've set? Because now people fear that this behavior is going to be replicated. And what chance then does an ordinary citizen have?
Yeah, and let me tell you, Rami, on another note, tomorrow is the 10th of November. And, we've been working with Arnab for about a decade now, both Sagarika and me, close to a decade. And, every time an election is announced, we have this habit of making sure that we put the hashtag out, and our hashtag when the Election Commission announced the dates for the Bihar results was November 10th, and we put out the hashtag called November 10th with Arnab. And let me tell you, heart of heart, we all were really, really banking that he will be back by tomorrow and in the studios. And let me tell you, tomorrow morning when counting starts at 8 a.m., we will all be here, and we know that our viewers will be here. And you know what? Elections mean everything to us, because we know that not just every election, every day people watch us, and we know that people more so watch us on elections, and they trust Arnab and the coverage with Arnab. Each one of you have watched elections with Arnab, right? Tomorrow we will not change our hashtag. Our hashtag will be November 10th with Arnab, and we will be counting the results, and we'll get you the most credible results and the fastest results. But I think that apart, my point was, it's all playing to a plan. It's all playing to a plan, and that was a larger point that I was trying to make. Let me bring in Amitabh Sinha now. Amitabh Sinha, you've heard the other lawyers, the other advocates on this panel. Now, of course, there are several legal remedies that are in front of us, but I think you look at the kind of outpouring, and after all of this outpouring and the facts, don't tell me that the facts are out in the public domain. And people know what's going on. And I don't think there can be a larger message than the one from the people in this case.
Certainly. See, at present day today, the entire situation actually is revolving around 3 aspects. Number 1 is legal, of course. Number 2, practical. And number 3, emotional. So just now, what you were talking about, that November 10th with Arnab, so that actually is the emotional issue, and the emotional issue of every Indian citizen who loves truth, who loves transparency. And Arnab actually represented, and Arnab will represent the same thing throughout the country, and not only in for India, throughout the world. People who are interested in India, they always see Arnab as a flag bearer of truth. Number one. Number two, see here, a practical aspect also I would like to put in here. In this context, I would like to tell you that every coin has two sides, every cloud has a silver lining. In this particular situation, every day, if the judiciary or the state government, they are actually, in my opinion, personal opinion, I am also a lawyer, and in my opinion, this High Court verdict is completely erroneous, and they could have given this verdict on the first very day, but they'll drag this matter for three days unnecessarily, so that the matter can be prolonged to serve the intentions of, the malified intentions of the Uddhav Thackeray government. So this, according to my perception, it is highly erroneous, and it should not have been done. So I am not going to use all these diplomatic words that the Honorable High Court actually did there.
No, but you have to exercise. You'll have to exercise restraint. That's that's another debate.
As a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you're a lawyer.
Yeah. No, as a lawyer, we very frankly and openly we use this terminology.
Yeah.
The verdict is erroneous, and this verdict should have been in other way. So now, I am very much doubtful that in Maharashtra, Arnab will get any relief after following this matter very closely. Arnab is my friend also. That's why I am not following this matter only on a legal point of view, but personal point of view also.
Yeah.
So now my point is that Supreme Court must be, Supreme Court should be the exercise to approach Supreme Court should be there, and the Supreme Court can suo motu take up this issue, because the entire case is full of malafide.
Yeah.
So
also bringing in. Mr. Sinha also bringing in very interesting points there, very strong points made by you, but also bringing in Rajiv Pandey of the BJP. What we are seeing right now, Rajiv, we've put the legal aspect out there. Many lawyers have come forward and have put their opinion there. Some have said that, okay, there are legal remedies, which yes, we are following. Some have said that we respectfully disagree. But I would like to ask you, you're a politician, you're a member of the BJP. We're talking about public perception as well. Petitions have gone to the Chief Justice of India, from veterans of this country, from journalists, and from citizens of the country, from prominent citizens of the country. But here, when we talk about public perception, because on the streets of Mumbai itself, there has been an outpouring of support. Can a state government that formed the government in the way it did, which everybody has seen, can a state government be completely oblivious or rather insensitive to the anger of the people on the streets? And when a state chooses to do that, what has history told us, or what has history showed us?
First of all, I would like to comment on two issues about the legal issue.
Yeah.
The biggest point is that the FIR was closed, and it is still closed. By no order it is open. So the arrest is itself illegal, and there is only one order which is enforced today, which is not set aside. That is the order passed by the Chief Judicial Magistrate, which has said that there is no need of custodial investigation. So that order stands as of today. Now you see, as Rahul Narvekar ji has said, that they have challenged this order before the session court by way of revision. But in the revision also, police custody is not given by the session court today. That shows that Arnab's police custody is not required for the investigation of this matter in hand by the Maharashtra police. If an accused who is an editor of a channel, and then you are keeping him in judicial custody in jail, he is not going to run away. The case is 2 years old, so he will be unable to influence the witness. He will be unable to influence investigation. Police custody is not required for investigation. What for? He is in jail.
Yeah.
And that people are knowing fully well. People are knowing fully well what for he is in jail. If bail is a matter of right, jail is an exception only on 2 counts. If he can influence the witness or investigation. My third point is that today whole country is watching through naked eyes what is happening with Arnab Goswami. That is my fourth point. As far as a political activist, I feel muzzling voice of a journalist is not accepted by the people of this country. We have seen what has happened when Indraji did that. We have seen that whenever any political party or any government takes malified action against journalists, people see, today or tomorrow, finally this matter will reach to the conclusion. And finally, the truth will come out. Then people will remember that how come without any evidence, how come without any proof, how come without anything, you are putting a journalist in a cage.
But Rajiv, it's day 6. Just to let you know, it's day 6. Right? He's spending the 6th day in
judicial custody.
And he will spend tonight in the Taloja jail again. And let me tell you, if there is just one phrase I can use to sum up what is happening, it's how the machinery in the state has murdered the Constitution. I'm saying with all responsibility, it's how the machinery has murdered the Constitution. Right? In 6 days, a lot could have happened, but hasn't happened. And we are fighting. I want to go across to Priyanka before you come in. I want to go across to Rajdeep as well. Priyanka also hasn't spoken. Okay, Rajdeep, come in, and then I'll go across to Priyanka. Priyanka hasn't spoken. Go ahead, Rajdeep, and then I'll go across to Priyanka.
The law of the land is very clear so far as the investigation is concerned. If a final report is being filed, like this case, Arnab's case, if the final report is filed, there are only 2 options. Either one, High Court can set aside the final report first. Second, if the complainant come forward and says that by filing a protest application. In this case, nothing has happened. So the police custody, which the state of Maharashtra has asked for, that is wholly illegal. It has no manner of application in this case. Second, starting from Atul J. Kulkarni's case, Harshad Mehta's case and Vinay Tyagi's case, Supreme Court has time and again said that when there is a closure report and when there is no protest application, court cannot suo moto direct for further investigation, or the investigating agency cannot take up the case suo moto on the basis of 173 further investigation. The whole concept of 173(8), the further investigation of Maharashtra police is wholly illegal, unauthorized, and is bad in law.
You know, when Priyanka, when Major General G.D. Bakshi was on the program, he made a constant reference and he said that, this is India, this is a democracy. What message are we sending out globally, especially when we are seeing global citizens unite and protest? What is the message that is going out? Isn't this similar to how in a totalitarian state like North Korea, the flow of information is from one known source called the Korean Central News Agency under state control for all the media outlets? Is this where Maharashtra is headed to?
Absolutely.
Are we looking at those days?
Absolutely, Sagarika. That is the reason that I tonight will not speak anything against what the orders of the High Court say. Whatever they have thought, they have given as per the orders. We have seen that. So I would not like to say anything against that. But what really makes me sad today is that as the officers of law, we are helpless because it is that when the state has determined to put someone behind bars, they did. This has been witnessed by everyone in India. Courts are no exceptions. They have also witnessed and they are also seeing what is happening around from the past 1 year, 6 months, what the state of Maharashtra is doing. But even after that, they had complete powers in their hand, the inherent powers. They could have granted the bail. They think that the session court should do the needful. So we are hoping the best from the session court because I have complete faith in the judiciary, because I cannot forget that India is a country where the courts are knocked in the midnight for somebody like Yaqub Menon. So a nationalist like Arnab Goswami will definitely get justice in this country, and I have complete faith in our system.
Yeah, and I wanted to come in and you know, people like to say, right, Swapnil, I know you're raising your finger. I'll come to you, right? I'll come to you and then I'll go across to Rahul Narvekar to give him the last word. But let me tell you, people keep saying nobody's above the law. People keep saying that, right? Yes, nobody's above the law. Very recently, the Chief Justice of India also observed about how the intensity is high on a few. You remember that, Swapnil?
Yes.
It's all playing out. This is a textbook case of that, isn't it?
Absolutely. The Chief Justice of India very recently observed that there is an intensified investigation against a few people and some people need the protection. And also, it is very important now to know that the pending High Court order is out of the way. The Supreme Court can easily intervene under Article 141 of the Constitution and treat Mr. Gaurav Bhatia's letter, convert that into a petition and take suo motu action on it. Because I can understand a little bit of hesitation on part of the apex court. It is the High Court, it's the pending High Court order. The High Court order also is a good one in the sense that it gives me space within which I can complete before the Sessions Court, and the Sessions Court is the appropriate court for me to approve as far as this particular thing is concerned. But be that as it may, and Arnab have put this before the Sessions Court and the application is, and I'm sure that Arnab's lawyers will try to get it expedited as fast as possible. Simply because there is an illegal detention arising out of an illegal arrest which has not been followed due process of law as far as that particular thing is concerned. But Article 41 also empowers the Supreme Court under its widest, it is the strongest article in the entire Constitution, where the topmost court of the land can easily intervene if it finds a fit case, where certain major articles of the Constitution, 14, 19 and 21, have been done away with as far as certain aspects of the investigation and the entire structure of this case is concerned.
Absolutely.
So it is very important that the Supreme Court can step in and even convert Mr. Gaurav Bhatia's letter. Regardless of that, it can do so if it wishes to.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that the people have appealed to the court in many different ways, and so are all the panelists and so is everybody.
Right. You know, Swapnil, like Niranjan said, we're going to give the last word to Rahul Narvekar because he's been following the case closely. He was in Alibag. Rahul, you know the in and out of this case. You followed it very, very closely. But tonight, like Niranjan said, in a few hours from now, this team, as it dedicates its election coverage to Arnab, the hashtag will be November 10th with Arnab because elections have been at the core of what we've done. Tonight, as there are citizens who have actually come out and have raised questions about civil liberties, about human rights, about basic fundamental rights, to each of them, yes, while the legal points have been raised, but as someone who's followed the case closely, to all the citizens who are actually looking up to the institutions, what do you have to say to them?
Well, you have rightly said no one is above the law. In fact, the Constitution of this country provides, there's a constitutional guarantee given to every citizen of this country. There's equality before the law and equal protection of the law. Unfortunately, this guarantee has not been met out to Arnab Goswami. Be that as it may, I would only like to conclude by saying, I am a true believer in what Mahatma Gandhi had to say. सत्य को परेशान किया जा सकता है, पराजित नहीं, सत्यमेव जयते. And Arnab will come out victorious sooner than later.
Yeah, and tomorrow is November 10th with Arnab. We're not changing the hashtag. We had a discussion internally whether we should change the hashtag. No, we will not change the hashtag. Tomorrow is November 10th with Arnab. You will stay with us because we will give you the fastest results and the most credible numbers. Stay with us. In fact, if people thought Arnab is not going to be here in our studios, and if those people thought that Republic is going to suffer, they don't know that more people are going to watch tomorrow, not just for the results, but also to see how Arnab is doing. We promise you, we will keep you updated all of tomorrow, the entire Republic Media Network, Republic TV, Republic Media Network, Republic Bharat, Republic World. Fastest results, and we will also get you the latest on Arnab as we continue to fight for him. He will continue to remain in our studios until he's out. November 10th with Arnab, that's the hashtag tomorrow. Thank you very much. Rajiv, Rahul, Amitabh, Ishkaran Bandari, Rami Desai, Shefali, Swapnil, Rajdeep, Kapil and Priyanka. Thank you once again for all your support. Thank you and good night.